Hello students, today we are going to start with osmotic fragility test. Till now we have finished with the hemolytic anemia definition, classification of hemolytic anemia, and we have seen the various hemolytic anemias under the classification. Now we are going to start with the special tests for hemolytic anemia. Osmotic fragility test. This test measures the ability of RBCs to make a fluid without lysis when put in saline solution of varying concentrations. It measures RBC resistance to hemolysis when exposed to a series of increasingly dilute saline solution. The pattern of lysis helps to determine whether the shape of RBC is normal or abnormal. That is, as we all know, the shape of the RBC is biconcave. So when it is put in a hypotonic solution, it starts swelling. That is, saline concentration enters the cell. When it starts swelling, due to the biconcave shape, it has the capacity to take in water or liquid to a certain extent. If the cell is not a normal cell, for example, if the patient is suffering from hereditary spherocytosis, there the cell is spherical in shape. So when such cell is put into an osmotic fragility test, there is no space for expanding or swelling. So when it is put, immediately lysis of the cell will be seen. This is the main issue of the osmotic fragility test. Now, factors that primarily affect the test is the shape of the RBC, which in turn depends on volume, surface area, membrane. Coming on to the principle. Normal red cells in normal buffered saline solution do not lyse, that is at a pH of 7. When the strength of the saline solution is decreased, spherocytic red blood cells which do not have the normal biconcave shape will begin to lyse. That is what I told previously. Hence, in this test, small volumes of blood are mixed at room temperature with the large excess of buffered saline solution of varying concentration. The fraction of red cells lysed at each saline concentration is assessed colorimetrically. The principle behind the test rests on the fact that the ability of the red cells to withstand hypotonic solution lies in its biconcave shape, which allows considerable water to enter the cell before it stretches enough to break or lyse. If a cell is already spherical, then its ability to swell on entry of water is less and the cell will lyse at a higher saline concentrations. When the red cells are incubated, even normal red cells become less biconcave or more spherical and therefore lyse at a higher saline concentration. Cells which are already slightly spherical become more so and the defect is magnified. This is the basis of the incubated osmotic fragility test. Now coming on to the what are the things required for the test. You require a defibrinated blood of the patient as well as a control sample. I have already told how defibrinated blood is prepared. You require 4 to 5 small screw capped sterile glass or plastic tubes, each measuring about 5 ml capacity for incubating the blood. You require a spectrophotometer with a wavelength of 540 nanometer for measuring. Reagents. Stock solution of 10% buffered saline sodium chloride osmotically equivalent to 100 gram per liter sodium chloride are prepared as follows. Sodium chloride 90 grams, disodium hydrogen phosphate 13.65 grams, disodium phosphate hydrous 17.115 grams, and sodium dihydrogen phosphate hydrous 2.34 grams. Dissolve the salt in distilled water and make up the volume to 1 liter. This stock solution can be kept for months in a stoppered bottle, well stoppered bottle. Now, take 10 gram per liter solution or prepare 1% solution from the above stock by taking 100 ml of 10% solution and making the volume up to 1000 ml with distilled water. By this, you are going to prepare 1% solution. Prepare the working solution of varying strengths from 1% solution as given below. Now, taking this 1% solution, you are going to prepare the various concentrations. These are the various concentrations. If you see in the column 1, we see the strength of the solution. How do you prepare that particular strength is given in the column 2. That is taking 1% solution. Taking 1% solution, 90 ml of 1% solution, to that you add 10 ml distilled water. The total volume becomes 100 ml. The concentration here is 0.9%. Same way you are preparing 0.8%, that is 80 ml of 1% solution. To that you add 20 ml distilled water. The concentration becomes 0.8%. Same way 0.75% continue till 0.1%. 0.1% you prepare, 10 ml of 1% solution is taken, to that 90 ml distilled water is added. That gives you 0.1% concentration. This way you are going to prepare the different strength of solution. Next, the procedure. For the procedure to continue, we have to prepare, as already told, defibrinated blood. Defibrinated blood from patient sample and defibrinated blood from control sample. Do not use the EDTA or citrate anticoagulated samples. Once the defibrinated blood is prepared, remove half of the defibrinated blood using a sterile pipette and place in 4 to 5 screw capped tubes and place it in an incubator at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours. That is for test after incubation. The procedure, we do the procedure in two methods. One is immediate test, other one is test after 24 hours. So the separation of the sample is for test after 24 hours. For immediate test, set up the test within 2 hours of blood collection if blood is kept at room temperature, or within 6 hours if the blood is stored at 4 degree centigrade. It is preferable to do the test immediately without any delay. For immediate test, set up the tubes as you see in the columns given below, chart given below. Set up 2 sets of 16 tubes, 1 to 16 tubes. 2 sets because one is for the test and other one is for control sample. With the range from percentage 0.1 to 0.9 percentage of saline in each of the tube. As shown in the columns, please add the saline. So saline from test tube 1 to test tube 16, starting from 0.9% concentration to the last 16th tube 0.1% concentration. Each tube you will be adding 5 ml of saline. Right, to the next, to the same tubes you will be adding 0.05 ml of defibrinated blood, what you have prepared, 0.05 ml. So 16 tubes of patient separately, 16 tubes of control sample separately. So in the same manner you are going to dispense the materials. Incubate the tubes at 15 to 25 degrees centigrade and mix. Centrifuge at 1200 gravity for 5 minutes or 2500 rpm for 5 minutes. Remove the supernatant from each of the tube into clean tubes without allowing mixing of the sediment to take place. Take the reading in spectrophotometer with wavelength setting at 540 nanometer or colorimeter with yellow-green filter. The reading of the supernatant from tube 0.9% saline is taken as blank. That is, the first tube is taken as blank, and the reading from the supernatant of tube 0.1% saline is taken as the 100%. That is, the last tube is taken as 100%. With non-anemic blood, reading for 100% lysis would be between 0.5 to 1.5 using spectrophotometer. If the value is less than 0.5, that is because of anemia, repeat the test using more amount of blood in each of the tube or less saline, whichever is possible. If value is above 1.5, use less blood or more saline in each of the tube. Now plot the results what you get in the graph, placing 1% sodium chloride solution on one x-axis and percentage of lysis on another axis, that is y-axis. Factors that affect the test: relative volumes of blood and saline in each of the tube, final pH of blood in the saline suspension, temperature at which test is done. Test after incubating the blood, that is, we have finished with the immediate test now. Now we are going to see the test after incubation, usually 24 hours incubation. Take tubes of blood which are incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours and observe if any are contaminated. The contamination is indicated by gross lysis and change in the color of the solution. If any are contaminated, discard those. If normal, pool the contents of all the tubes, mix each one thoroughly. Why we take so many tubes is because we keep it for incubation of 24 hours. During these 24 hours, there are chances of lysis of the red cells taking place due to various reasons. That's why the sample is separated in small liquids and stored. Of these, if any are lysed, then that part is discarded and others are taken and continued with the test. Now proceed as for immediate test. What procedure we have done for immediate test, same way proceed here for incubation test. Result and interpretation. Normal lysis of fresh blood, that is immediate test, begins at 5 gram per liter, that is 0.5% sodium chloride solution, and it is complete at 3 gram per liter, that is 3% solution. After 24 hours incubation, the lysis begins at 7% or 7 gram per liter solution and is complete at 2 gram per liter or 2%. A patient's graph which shifts to the right of the normal range indicates which are spirocytic. Sometimes most of the graphs fall within the normal range with a small population of cell, that is a tail outside the range. The tests tell us that there are spirocytes, but not why those spirocytic cells are present. It only tells that the cells are spirocytic in nature. The incubation magnifies the spirocytic defect, and result of the incubated blood is more diagnostic than the immediate test in a patient with mild defect. A graph which shifts to left of normal range indicates flattened or hypochromic red cells as seen in case of conditions like thalassemia or iron deficiency anemia. This is osmotic fragility test.